Okay, this is lesson number 1, and we are going to be talking about the business acumen in quite a bit of detail. These are just 94 slides, but because there is a lot of explanation to do, a lot of discussion to do, therefore it will take a little more time, but we will try to ensure that you get the whole message because you need to be very attentive and understand what it all really means. If you know it already, good, well and good. But if you don't, then you have to pay extra attention because these are the basic concepts. These are the foundations on which your project management knowledge is going to stand, right? So the topics we are going to be covering in this, we have the main topic as a business environment, which represents the business acumen. We'll talk about the foundations. We'll talk about the strategic alignment. Then project benefits and value. What are project benefits and value? Organizational culture and change management. Project governance and project compliance. These are all very tricky topics, and you have to get a good grasp on these because we are going to be referring them throughout our course. Although I told you that business acumen carries only 8% of marks, but actually this is the foundation. Everything you know about project management is basically due to this foundation. So we have to pay extra attention in this. So the first topic is the foundation. So what is the foundation? Okay, I would like you to interact with me to define what do you think a project means? Your own definition. You can refer to the slide, but give me your own definition of what is a project.
A series of activities aimed at achieving a business goal.
Okay. Say again.
A series of activities aimed at achieving a specific business goal.
Okay, activities. Right. We'll improve on that. Arena, what do you think a project is?
Process, maybe. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure. Maybe some kind of process in managing the operations.
Okay. Alina, what do you think?
It should be let's say a temporary
Temporary, yes.
activity that aims to achieve
Okay.
to have some deliverables to achieve some change.
I like the word temporary you used. That is good. But Jaya and you both are referring to activities. When you talk about activities, activities are not only about project. There could be normal operational activities, right? What is so special about project activities? What do you do in a project? What is so different? I mean, do you recognize that project is not like operation? Do you recognize that?
Right.
What does the operation do?
It's more repetitive.
Repeat it, right? So this is a routine work. We already know how to do it, and we keep repeating it over and over again. Like you do production, you have a mechanism of production, and you keep repeating that time over time. And it is creating some kind of value. That if you do have operational procedures or processes in place, why do we need to do our project?
We need to
Because
plan, manage, coordinate.
we-
We are managing operations also. We are managing projects also. Why do we need to?
The activities included in a projects are usually unique to the project, or
Okay,
and as Alina was saying, temporary, like finite and one-time activity.
very nice, very nice. So, Alina, your point of being temporary, and here she's talking about something unique, right? So that refers to that what we are doing in a project is not normal, right? We are doing something special. We probably have never done it before. We are trying to invent a new way of doing something in a more effective manner. Although we have got processes to do things, but those processes are repetitive in nature and we just do them over and over again. Maybe we are experimenting with a new process and we are trying to create a new way of working. As a result, we may have something unique. The output of that process would be something unique which we have never done before. It could be a new product, it could be a new service, or it could be a new result, right? So we are in a creation phase, we are in an experiment phase, we are doing something which is creative. It is not just logical, it is being creative. We are inventing something out of it. So this is your creativity being used to develop something new which has never been done before. And you are developing a procedure for that. You are developing you are not given a standard operating procedure how to do a project. You are inventing your own way of working. How are we going to create that output? Then coming back to the Alina's point, projects are temporary in nature. Operations are not. Production is not temporary. Production is continuous in nature, and we keep doing those things over and over again and again until we really decide that this procedure is not to be continued, right? So maybe we are doing that, following that standard operating procedure for years and years and years. When we have to reinvent something, we have to find a new way. That challenging assignment is the project, and that must be limited by time, because say in 6 months we have completed the experiment successfully, we submit the results. That means as soon as we have achieved the objectives of the project stands closed. And the results of the project can be adopted into operations or maybe whoever asked for it. So this is going to be temporary. No project is going to go on forever. It cannot, because it is temporary in nature. It is limited by time, right? But limited by time, I do not mean that it starts on 1st of January and ends on 30th of June. Dates are not necessary. The only fact that a project will have to start at some point in time and will have to finish at some point in time. It does have a start moment and a finishing moment. And that could be 4 months, that could be 3 months, that could be 6 months, whatever the duration is, that is called the duration of the project. But the exclusive feature of a project is it does start at a point in time and does finish at some point in time. That time in between becomes the time, the project duration, right? Because there is no SOP, we can't say, yeah, we will invent our own plan, which we will try to define how much time this initiative is going to take. In the beginning, when we are planning, we may say that it is going to take, say, 6 months, but actually when we do it, it may take 7 months or maybe 5 months. So it still is a project. Even if it is completed in 5 months or 7 months, it is still a project. It is still temporary. It is still time limited. So don't put start and finish date on the project and then say it is time limited. The time limited is just to explain the temporariness of a project. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It does.
Another feature of the project is again very interesting because we are reinventing something. We are reinventing something, a new way of working, a better and more effective process, optimize our processes. So something new is going to come out of it, and that is going to be a change in the existing procedure. Whenever we want to improve our processes, we initiate a project as if it can drive change and tell us a new and more optimized and efficient way of working. Agree or not?
Yeah.
Yes.
That is the feature of a project. It drives change. And the most interesting part of it is because we have done some kind of experimentation, we actually aimed to bring some kind of change in the organization or a system or a process. So we launched a time-limited effort or a temporary effort to create a unique product, service, or result. But that change is going to impact our organization. That will enable value creation for a business or organization. So that is a far-reaching impact. It is just not we invented a new thing. That invention has actually is going to serve the organization in the long run. So we are not doing all this experimentation on our own. We have been directed by the organization that this is the value we want to achieve in long term. So please carry out a project and try to find a new way of doing things. And once you have done that, you will add value to the organization. You will add value to the business. So projects are not done in vain. They are done for creation of a business or organizational value. I'll talk more about value, organizational value, business value. But right now, I am just talking about the definition of the project. I suppose these few sentences might have given you a fair sense of what a project really means. Got it?
Yep.
Okay. If you have understood what a project definition is, let us talk about the success of the project. What are the things or features on which the success of any project may depend on? What do you think? Your opinion. Don't consult the points written here. How would you ensure, how would you know that project can be successful? What could be the features and functions? What is so specific about it?
Profit.
Process. But process is
Profit.
yes.
Profit.
Process.
Money.
Okay, money, yes, of course. That is the third point, funding and resource availability. If you don't have money, you don't have resources, you can't do the project. No matter how good you are, how good your team is, how good the project manager is, how mature the organization is, whatever, funding and resource availability is important for the success of a project. Right. What else?
The
Ability to manage risks.
Say again.
Ability to manage risks.
Which one is that?
I don't know.
Say again. I
He
don't.
came up with another
I'm
one that
unable
is not
to
in the list.
unable to hear you properly.
Risk management.
Risk management. Okay. Risk management is something which will happen during the project, right? So we'll not talk about the risk management because uh, if you are talking about the organizational risk management, that is another issue, right? But the risks
Project.
within the project are the matter of the project management, and project manager can handle that. I am talking
I
about
think it's
success.
part of the effectiveness.
Uh, Yes, of course, naturally. But
Yeah.
again, I would say that is a process within the project, and we'll talk about those things. But I'm right now talking about what all are the environmental things which are impacting, which
Mhm.
are indicators that this project could be successful, right? Okay, let me take you the effectiveness of the project. A good project manager has been assigned on this project. We are confident that it is going to be successful, isn't it?
Mm.
If
yes.
if the team is good, team members have been selected carefully and they have got the relevant skill set, that also indicates the project can be successful, right? Okay, if organization has been handling many projects over the last many years, they might have matured in managing projects. They might have a kind of a confidence in their way of working, and that also adds to the success of the project. So what I'm talking about the external, uh, visible things. Risk is something happening within the project, and we'll talk more about it in much more detail, how the risk management within the project can be done. But these four elements we just talked about: organizational project maturity, project manager effectiveness, funding and resource availability, and team member skill level. These four things definitely point towards the success of the project. Now, another very important point here is collaboration and communication within the team and with key stakeholders. When you are doing a project, you are doing a lot of communication. You are talking to people all the time. You are talking to the customer, you're talking to other stakeholders, vendors, suppliers, your own team member. There is a lot of collaboration and communication going on. And if you don't have that level of collaboration and communication, probably your project is not going to be successful. To ensure success of a project, you must have excellent collaboration and communication throughout the life of the project. Right? You have to listen to everyone. You have to involve and engage everyone, all the stakeholders and all the team members. If you leave anything on chance, you are at risk of failure. So keep yourself updated, keep your team and your stakeholders always updated what is happening. Keep them in confidence. That is the key to success. Last but not the least, that is one of the most important points. When you are engaging yourself in a project, you should have the understanding of the core problem and related needs, right? If you don't have that, and it is not, I'm not talking only about the project manager, I'm talking about all the team members and all the stakeholders. They should be having a shared understanding of what we are doing and why we are doing it. Everybody should be on the same page. Everybody should have a common understanding of what and why are we doing this. So, understanding of the core problem and related needs, naturally it starts with the project manager. Project manager will lay down the core problem and the related needs, He will understand them from the stakeholders and maybe the sponsor and other people. And then he will share it through collaboration and communication with the team and all the key stakeholders just to develop a shared understanding. That is a very important point for the success of a project. There could be more features in the success of the project, but these are the key elements which actually portray that your project is going in the right direction. So if you are a person who is auditing a project, you would likely look at these 6 items and can form a fair idea, will the project be successful or not? If you find project manager is not good enough, if you find that team is not skillful, if you find the funding and resource availability is not ensured, if you find the organization has no maturity in project management, if you find there is no collaboration and communication amongst the stakeholders, and if you find people don't understand what they are doing, all of these are reasons for a downfall, each one of them, right? So success of the project will depend on these 6 items. Do you agree with me on that? Can you think of something similar, something else which you think can also contribute to project success?
Sorry, you were breaking up a little bit. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, probably there is a problem on the internet. Am I audible now?
Sometimes we will lose you for a moment.
Okay.
Now we can hear you.
Okay, good. So I was saying, these are the 6 points I have given you, but if you think there is another point which could point towards the success of a project, let's talk about it. In addition to these 6 points. Probably one thing which is not mentioned here, like the point Arina has given, I would not talk about the project risk management, but I would say various policies and procedures of the organization which could be applied to the project, like procurement policy, risk policy, quality policy, procurement, whatever, contract management policy. So these are actually coming to the project and they must be adopted accordingly. We will talk about it in the last topic, which is project governance, right? But do you understand that also will contribute towards the success of project?
Yeah.
Yes.
Anything else which comes to your mind? Alina?
Maybe external regulations, they need to be considered.
Say again?
Factors like country regulations or
Yeah, of
legal
course.
constraints.
Actually, what I said, we'll talk about the environmental factors and all that in detail, but you are right. I would say these things come to the project through the governance. The organization are outside entities, they enforce some regulations, laws under which the organization will run or the project will run. So naturally, I do agree with you that these will be part of the governance structure you get. Anything else? No?
One thing that I've encountered in my experience is might be problems with resources commitment. Meaning I might have a certain number of skills and resources available at the beginning of the process of the project, and then along the way someone leaves the company or
Exactly.
someone gets disengaged from this project for any
Yes,
reason, and I find myself lacking the necessary resources.
exactly. Actually, when we say resource availability, this is the continuity of the resource. This is not
Yeah.
about the resources were available in the beginning and then they vanish. Actually, resource availability and funding is a continuous concern. If you start, having the problem with the continuity, that is also covered under this.
Okay.
Right. Let us move on to the evolution of project management. Well, we did talk about the definition of the project, but as far as the project management is concerned, there are two definitions here. Above, the one which was created when the PMI was founded, the initial definition was formed in 1969, and that is still applicable. I'm not saying that is obsolete. This is still applicable. It says the application of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to the project activities to meet the project requirements. You see, here we are specifically talking about project activities, and we understand these are not any other kind of activities, operational activities or production activities or something. We are talking about the project activities. So when we are doing the project activities, we have to apply 4 things on that. Number 1, the knowledge of project management we have. That is very important. Do we really have any knowledge of project management, or just by the dint of our professional degree, we suppose that we are a project manager? For example, I am a civil engineer and I think I can do any civil engineering project. Is it the right thinking?
No.
I have no knowledge of project management. Then probably I lack that knowledge. And if I have to do a project, I have to learn that. So it is not the civil engineering knowledge alone which is going to help me in project management, but I have to learn a little bit about what the project management really means. And civil engineering is just a technical aspect of that project, but what are the management aspects of the project? So naturally, I must be educated. So many people who, just by the dint of their professionalism, they think that they can handle anything, any project, are maybe not really very efficient and effective because they don't hold the project management knowledge. Project management knowledge puts you on the right path. So number 1 thing is you must have a knowledge of project management. You must have skills, experience. You must have tried to apply that knowledge you learned into your skills. They must be part of your skills. You may be experienced in exercising that knowledge for a couple of years. That is the skill. So you have the knowledge of project management, you have the skills of the project management, but the most interesting thing is, do you have the tools and techniques of project management? They may have been taught to you in your knowledge. You may have come across them during your skills, but do you have the tools and techniques? What could be the tools and techniques? For example, let us diversify a little bit. Let us say you are a carpenter. You have knowledge of your profession. You have been exercising your carpentry skills for last couple of years. So you have knowledge and you have skills, but you do not have your tools and techniques with you. Let's talk about tools first. You do not have your tools with you. Can you craft a table without your tools?
No.
Can you or can you not?
No.
You definitely need your
No, you
tools,
cannot.
right? Now, what are the tools of a project manager? That is a tricky question. What are the tools of a project manager?
Mainly
Scheduling.
communication tools
Yes, good, good. What else?
and tracking.
You see, The most important responsibility of the project manager is collaboration and communication. So, naturally, there is analysis and planning and everything. So, there will be certain tools. Naturally, you don't have a hammer as a tool, you don't have a saw as a tool, but as a project manager, maybe there are some paper tools, some charts, some graphs, some statistics. So, all of these things which you can use for the performance of your project management are your tools. And then, for example, SWOT analysis is our tool. SWOT analysis, you must have heard about it. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. That might be a tool, right? How does it look like? SWOT analysis, how does it look like? Ever done that? Never?
I'm not familiar with that.
No.
Actually, what we do in SWOT analysis is we take a large piece of paper and divide it into 4 parts. This is called SWOT. This upper right, left corner, this is my strengths. These are my weaknesses. These are my opportunities, and these are my threats. So you can do the SWOT analysis in any condition. You can do a SWOT analysis of your organization, of your department, of your team, or even your person. Let us do a SWOT analysis of your person, right? Write down in brief form the strengths you have. Say, let us restrict it to 3 strengths you have, 3 weaknesses, 3 opportunities, 3 threats. Can we do it?
Give me an example of what you would consider an opportunity when referred to a person.
Okay. What are the opportunities in front of you? Consider. Yes?
Let's try to restrict is there a specific area that I need to look
Well,
at?
maybe you are young, you have more time to learn. Maybe these are the opportunities. Maybe you can learn more and use that opportunity to your well-being or your future progress.
Mm-hmm.
And what are the threats? Maybe there is a lot of competition in the market. That is a threat. You have to
Okay.
beat the competition, right? So everyone in every scenario, whether you are a person or a team or an organization, you have certain strengths, certain weaknesses, opportunities, and certain threats. But we don't know. Actually, the problem is we don't know what are our strengths, what are our weaknesses, what are our opportunities, and what are the threats. Actually, strengths and weaknesses, these are internal to you. These are your personal strengths and personal weaknesses as a person or as a team or as an organization. Opportunities and threats are not in your control. They are the things, actually, these are risks. These are uncertainties. Opportunities are positive uncertainties, and threats are negative uncertainties, meaning there are both risks, positive risk and the negative risk. But you don't control it, but you deal with it. If an opportunity offers itself, you must encash it. If a threat presents itself, you must mitigate it, isn't it? So, these are the upper 2 things are internal, and lower 2 things, opportunities and threats, they are external. But if you look at these 2 items, strengths and opportunities, they are positive. These two things are negative. Agreed?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, let us go back to your personal strengths. For example, I am truthful, I am dedicated, and I am responsible. What are my weaknesses? Maybe forgetfulness, maybe lack focus, maybe slow worker, right? Once you have written that down, it is easier to focus on exploiting your strengths or improving on your strengths because they are your cash cows. You say, okay, I should be more focused on my truthfulness and, this and that. You can categorize that. And similarly, you say, okay, why I am so forgetful? I should work on it because I usually suffer due to this problem, right? So you try to, then if you know your weaknesses, you can try to improve upon them. If you know your strengths, you try to capitalize on them. Now let's talk about opportunities. Like I said, what was the opportunity open to you? Any opportunity you can give me?
To learn more about project management.
Okay. So one opportunity is training.
Yeah.
Second opportunity is maybe
Something.
youth is a great opportunity because you have got a lot more time to learn than an older guy. And what else is the opportunity? Maybe you can get a better
Health.
job. Yes. Financials.
Take.
So you should
Yeah,
explore.
socioeconomic status.
Yeah, exactly. Socio. Okay, what could be the threats? Maybe competition. Maybe what else? Failure. Maybe
Sorry, what is that?
failure.
Failure.
Oh, failure. Okay.
So something like that. This thing is a tool, but how to use it? I am teaching you how to use it. That is the technique of using this tool. If you don't know the technique, if you just knew the word SWOT analysis, might have heard it from somewhere. Yes, you understand this is a tool, but you don't know how to use it. There is a technique to use it. So you must have knowledge, you must have skills, you must have tools, and you must have techniques if you really want to perform as a project manager. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So I suppose this is clear. As a project manager, you apply your project management knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to project activities as if you can meet the project requirement. That's it. But the interesting part, which is hidden within it, is that it should only be applied. These knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques should only be applied to project activities and not to any other activities. Why? Yes, we have got knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques only to project activities. Why? Because in your project, if you are you are doing other activities and you are spending your knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques on non-project work, you are wasting money of the project. You are wasting time of the project. In project, we need to be dedicated. All the knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques must only be applied justifiably only on the project activities and only to meet the project requirement. Anything else we do in the project is unofficial. That is wrong. That is out of the scope. We must understand the concept of in scope and out of scope. Anything which is not a project work is out of scope of my project, and I'm not supposed to do that. So I should not waste my knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques on off-scope things, off-scope activities, because they are not the project activities. Anyways, this was the traditional project management definition we knew for so many decades. And that is still true. I'm saying it again and again. That is still true. This definition works today. But since 2022, PMI has added some things to it. This is an addendum. The basic definition remains the same, but because the development sector worldwide and the non-government organizations, they do not use the same terminology as PMI used to use in its project management standard. As you see, they said product, service, or result. This terminology, product, service, or result, are for that matter deliverable. This is not the terminology used in the development sector. They talk in completely different terms. They talk in terms of outputs and outcomes. Do you agree with me? So basically, the product, service, or result is basically the output, right? Then what do they call an outcome? What is an outcome? Have you ever been involved in a public sector project or a development sector project? No. They are not really much concerned about money. They are more concerned about outcomes and outputs and outcomes. When this project is done, what is the physical deliverable handed over to me? That is the output. And second question is, does it work? Outcome is it should be performing as it is supposed to perform, right? If it works, then it is the outcome. Outcome may not be realized immediately when the output is handed over, but outcomes, basically the development sector thinks that outcomes should be the responsibility of the project manager, right? I have constructed a building and I have handed over the building, but does it work? Does it work means that is it convenient to be populated? It is understandable. So basically, for example, the electric system is working and all plumbing systems are working and everything is okay. Maybe they take 4 or 5 days to inspect that. And although they have accepted the building, but they are now checking it if it really works, right? And once they are comfortable, then the project can be closed. And that's why they have associated these two terminologies, output and outcome. These two terminologies are coming from the development sector, and they have changed the definition a little bit. It says projects do not simply produce output. Now, when I say output, I mean product, service, or result, the old terminology which we had in the definition of the project management. In the definition of the project, you remember we talked about the product, service, or result, which you call the deliverable also. That is referred here as an output. That is referred here as an output. And outcome is the immediate benefit which can be yielded. Actually, that is outcome. that ultimately deliver value to the organization and its stakeholders. Now, one more thing let me explain here. Whatever we produce in a project, there is a purpose for that. And that is some kind of a long-term benefit. If I am constructing a school, the construction of school was my project, what was the reason why this job was given to me? What do they want from the school? Although this is not my business, but what I should understand, why are they constructing this school? Maybe to educate the masses in that area, the children of the people in that locality, as if they can add to the literacy in that area. So maybe they have to meet a certain figure of literacy over 10 years, and this school is going to be instrumental in that. So that is a long-term benefit. Also, I will hand over the school, I will show that it is working. So output and outcome I have done, but long-term benefit is not the responsibility of the project manager. This is the responsibility of the people who are going to take over the school building. They will hire staff, they will enroll students, they will educate them, train them, or whatever, and they will get them graduated. Once that specific number of graduations have achieved, we will say the benefit has been achieved. So that means outcome is also a kind of a benefit, but it is a short-term benefit. But there is a long-term benefit also. So in the definition of the project, we can add outputs and outcomes only. Outcome, which is a short-term benefit, which is the functionality of the building, functionality of the product I have created. If it is functional, then my job is done. Project can be closed down. It can be handed over. And those people who are taking up that responsibility, they are then becoming responsible for the long-term benefits. I hope that point is clear and understandable. So when did we conceive the benefits? When did we think what the benefits are going to be? Did the project manager think of the benefits? The long-term benefits I'm talking about. Who conceived them?
Can you repeat that, please?
I said the long-term benefits of a project, who conceives them? Is it the project manager who thinks about what is going to be ultimately the benefit? Or someone else is thinking about it?
Well, it should be the sponsor, right?
Okay. Okay. Before the sponsor came into the picture, who was responsible for the idea of this project? Sponsor was nominated after that idea was approved, isn't it?
Okay. Or
It must
then
be.
what would you call the whatever person that promoted the idea in the first place?
What kind of people do that? Not project managers, not sponsors. They are called the business
Those
analysts.
Stakeholder.
Yeah. Business analyst. Heard about it?
Okay.
These are the people who analyze, who look at the organizational need and they conceive new ideas. They do they do link it to the business need and create a feasibility around it, thus coming up with a business case, which is escalated to the higher authorities for approval. That this is the idea, we have done the feasibility, and we are presenting the business case to you, the higher level management, for approval. Once that business case is approved, only then sponsor comes into play. And once the sponsor creates a charter, project manager comes into being. Anyways, my point was, when business analyst was creating the idea, the benefit was conceived at that point in time. So benefit was not conceived by the project manager or the project sponsor. It was conceived by the business analyst, and it was approved by the top level management of the organization. Right? That is how the benefits were created. Do you get some idea about it? I just wanted to kind of shed a little light on the words output, outcome, and the long-term benefits, right? Consider outcomes as the immediate or short-term benefits which could come out from the project. But the long-term benefits cannot. So we will call outputs the physical thing, the building we are giving, and outcomes is functionality, only the school building functionality, that is the outcome. And the long-term output, that is not the business of the project manager. That is written in the business analyst plan, in the business case, and that would be taken over by the body taking over the school. They will be responsible for realizing those benefits. And if business analyst is still there, he could watch over their shoulder. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay, was it useful, this discussion?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
I suppose I am not going to go ahead with the next slide because that is more details and I don't want to discuss that. But right now, what I have done with you, I have talked about the definition of project management and its evolution. This is the definition, basic definition of project management, and this is the evolution where we talk about outputs and outcomes. Here, in the project management, we just talk about the product, service, or result. Product, service, or result, or you could collectively call it a deliverable, or you can call it an output. But there is no mention of outcome. What PMI has done, that in the definition of project management, they have added the word outcome. Because outputs lead to outcome. Right?
Okay.
So that was the difference. Then we have in depth talked about the temporariness of the project, how a project drives the change, how the value creation is also a concern you must keep at the back of your mind. And then it is something to be created, it is new, it is initiative, something like that. And these were some of the success factors. So we just covered 2 slides here, but I suppose that was useful. And tomorrow when we meet, we would be starting from this slide onwards. Any questions?
On this content, not really.
On the?
No, I said on this content, no questions. I think it's
Okay.
clear.
Okay, wonderful.
It is rather helpful because I don't know Irina's background, but I think I can speak for Alina and me, who have been working together in the same team in the same organization for years
Okay.
now, and we have both had some degree of training within our organization. However, we mostly learn from experience, and it's hard for us to see all of this structure, and the definition of roles are sometimes blurred in our organization. The person coming up with the idea and the person ending up being the appointed as the project manager to execute it are oftentimes the same person.
Right.
And initiating projects and then sponsoring them and then becoming the product owner, for example. Sometimes, the lines are very, very blurred and become the same person or someone appointed.
Right.
So it's with the fact that within a team like ours, there are small projects all the time, and just we work as a team. One has the lead, but we work as a team, just get it done. Learning how the structure is supposed to be in the labels and the names and the division of roles
Yes,
is something that's we're learning as something new here and now.
exactly. Actually, I don't say that whatever we are learning here is to be applied on all the projects. There are small projects, there are small organizations. They may not need that detail, but because we are preparing ourselves from the very small level to a very large level, because project management doesn't see the size. Projects are like of any size. A mega project could be there, and a mini project could be there. So uh, naturally, on a very small project, we may not apply all those rules. Maybe as you're saying, you are the business analyst and you are the project manager, and you are dealing with the output and the benefit. I don't know. So yes, of course, there might be blurred lines in the beginning, but as you grow further, you will have a need for separate people dealing with separate things, right?
Yes.
Nina, anything from your side?
From my side,
Yeah.
no.
Okay. So let us call it a day. I think it was useful for you, but it was just almost nothing. We just covered 2 slides. But I can assure you, you will be much more interested in what we are going to be talking next. So thank you very much for your attention and contributions. Thank you and take care. See you again tomorrow, same time. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much
Thank
for your
you.
time. Have a
Bye.
nice day.
Bye.